Start this thing anyway. Hello, humans that are maybe watching or not. I don't know.
Jesus is always watching.
I said humans.
That's true.
Isn't the human part dead now? Like,
technically speaking, yeah, you're right.
I'm pretty sure he's like only ghost and God, if I remember my Trinity, which I don't at all.
I thought he was a lich.
Yeah, he's also a lich, but like I don't think those are humans either.
Depends on if you're reading Greek or Aramaic translation.
I'm reading English English translation. I can't do that. Yeah. So thanks for tuning in. Hey, Julie. We do have people here. Good.
Julie.
Perfect timing. Thanks for tuning in. To Trash Talk. I finally came up with a name for the show.
That's a great one. That's perfect.
So
After like 6 months. Tonight I have two fighters I've had the pleasure of captaining and having been captained by Brian Juranty and Greg Fisher. They are both these guys are always smiling at events, which like blows my mind because I'm always like miserable at events because I don't know, fighting's hard. It's very hard. So we also all fought together on the Monarchs in what was my probably favorite season I've ever had fighting. So I just wanted to bring them on and talk about those experiences and share some war stories and talk about like how to
Even
continue.
repping tonight.
Yeah.
Except the shirt's definitely shrunk, so I can't raise my arms, or else it's all just belly. It's all just belly button.
You mean you fucking masked up, is what you mean.
Oh, yeah. I'm just cultivating mass.
Yeah. What's up, dickheads? Wow, Brandon. Rude.
Oh, I can't read the comments, but I'm so disappointed in him. He's off the team.
You can read the comments. You can go on Twitch and read them. Like, you have a computer right
Twitch,
there.
right.
Oh, but what happens when you have a computer viewing your own thing?
Hopefully you'll kill the audio so that it doesn't come through. But
that goes.
But yeah, I don't think it creates an infinite recursion. And if it does, we'll see you get pulled into the Matrix, and that'll be kind of cool.
Oh, that'd be sweet. Only if you knew you were in the Matrix, not if you were just in some computer program. That'd be a bummer.
Yeah.
Yeah. That would be wrong. Also, yeah, I don't think we're at Matrix level, so it would be like...
It'd be like Minecraft.
Yeah, it'd be a pretty shitty game. The graphics just like don't hold up to reality.
I'm pretty sure this... I'm trapped in a game. No, this is real life. Shut up. Okay.
Can't come to work. Stuck in the multiverse.
Yeah, so... back to the thing, though. Yeah, so we're just gonna talk about having fun and hopefully how to avoid burnout, because I don't know if either of you guys have hit it, but what's up, Land? But yeah, how you guys have avoided, how you guys continue to have fun with it, and shit like that, and why some of those trips and fights were so good. First, though, gonna go over some news in Bohurt. Oh my god, the chat isn't showing at all in my thing. No one can see anyone else talking on the stream. Even though they have their own chats, they don't need me to do this. But, like, I feel like it's important for no reason. There we go. Now you guys can see the things that you said. Monarchs, let's go! Shug, honorary monarch.
Shug. He has my helmet. He has my old Griffin helmet. That
Does
I
he?
missed so dearly.
I want to see that thing come back. Does it still have the fucking the panel on it?
The big Frankenstein chunk of metal.
Yeah, a big patch plate.
So yeah. Anyway, news and Bohurt. First off, news relevant to the channel. I'm switching to Tuesdays, so this is the last Monday stream. Probably should have announced that like prior, because I bet a bunch of people aren't going to show up. But whatever. I don't do things right. So Tuesdays at 9:30, same time, just different day. So I guess it's not really the same time, but you know that. Anyway, in domestic news, Texas had a bunch of pro fights. I haven't had a chance to go watch them yet, but
I watched them. They were sweet.
Were they good?
Yeah.
Nice. Fitz beat Kenny. I don't know Fritz. I think it was his first time in armor, so that's kind of an upset. Sean beat Justin. That doesn't sound like an upset. I expected that. How was the longsword fight? Was that dope?
The longsword fight was really good.
Yeah.
That was with Sean and Justin.
Yeah.
Honestly, it surprised me. But Sean was straight up swinging his sword the whole time like he was holding an axe.
Nice. Brandon
And it was
style.
just it was great. Honestly, I think that was the best fight of the night, in my opinion.
Brandon, we found out that you need to stop fighting longsword duels and fight longsword pro fights. Your whole week is scheduled around this podcast. That's not great. I feel like you might want to change your week. Also, if it is, just reschedule it because this podcast is changing. Yeah. And Shan beat Julie, which that I don't know what weapons they used, but if it was longsword, that's a huge upset to me.
They were using sword and sword and board.
I don't know how good Julie is as that, but Julie was like she's been in it for a while and she is pretty damn good at longsword. But
Julie was definitely a lot more aggressive in the fight and had Shan like kind of on her back foot, but Shan just landed more shots.
Yeah, sometimes that. And all the times, in fact, that's more important.
Sometimes swinging your weapon more lets you win.
And in tragic news, HMB has new authenticity rules. So whatever kits you have, throw them out. They're no good anymore. I don't know all the details, but what the distilled version I heard was that they're going way harder on materials, and that even by a hardcore ruling, TI no longer is valid, even though they're saying it will always be valid. The strict reading of the rules seems to say it's not. So fuck that. If you have your personal device may get bounced for any reason. So good luck if you have a personal device. 50 years has been shrunk to 30 years, right, Lance? So you need to make sure you're much tighter on your timeline, and I believe they cut off the entire 13th century or the entire 1300s. Probably the 13th century. The entire 1300s would be wild. That's like everybody.
Yeah.
It's got to be the 13th century.
There goes all HMB hopes to fight.
Yeah, like, I mean, I already knew I didn't want to fight HMB, and it's just confirmed again. It's terrible. Alex and I are going to break that down at some point. We're going to go through it piece by piece. I don't know if that's be on this channel or his channel, but that's a new thing we're going to try to do is go through all the rules so that people understand them, because we don't. And we, like, read them. Oh, 13th century Eastern only. I'm actually in support of that, because, yeah, they got away. They got to be, like, extra sketchy at getting away with stuff. But, like... Also, I don't know, just let people wear what they want. I heard you need to fight an actual artifact from the timeline. Yes. Yeah, you have to become an actual excavator.
Get your tetanus shot beforehand.
Yeah. Okay. So, at least 3 weeks before for authenticity, you have to stop bathing. Yes. Anyway, last thing before we get into the main topic. I was trying to do a training challenge for the week. This week's training challenge is more armored stuff. Put on your legs and do speed ladder drills with just your bottoms on. It's very hard. And you'll be like, man, I thought I was agile. And turns out you're not.
But if I don't do that, I can still suspend disbelief that I'm still fast.
Yeah, it's true. Cool. So, yeah, let's get into this. So, first off, let's introduce you guys. Brian, who are you?
I am Brian Juranty. I am a fighter out of the Knights Hall up here in New Hampshire. Been fighting for, I don't know. How long have you been fighting, Ringo?
I don't know.
Like 1 year less than Ringo's been fighting.
I know. It's like
whatever that is.
Brandon, when did we start?
I want to say this fall is going to be like 6 years for me.
That sounds.
I think you're 6 because I'm going to be 4 this year.
That sounds right. I buy
I'm
that.
going to be 4.
This man.
He's a big boy now. You get the pull-ups.
Well, 2014, he says. Ooh, that's like 7.
That would no, it's 6. Oh, it's 2021. It is.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, so that's 7
We
for,
skipped a
for
year.
you guys. 6 for me.
Skipped a year. Well, yeah, we've actually only been fighting 6 and 5 years because the year doesn't.
Yeah. Hey, we fought last year. We fought at that Ren Fair.
I didn't fight at the Ren Fair, or at Carnage, or.
Oh, I did that one.
I did the barrier fight with Greg. He punched me in the face a lot.
I have a sweet gif of it. Oh, it's hilarious. I gotta find it now.
You do. So yeah. Anyway. Cool. Greg, introduce yourself.
Greg Fisher. I was the number 3 member of the OG Monarch clan. Right now, I'm captain of the National Nightmares. We did have an undefeated season, which isn't a big deal, but it kind of is. Don't ask how many fights we actually did. Undefeated season. Doesn't matter.
Brian, did you ever have an undefeated season when you were captain of Monarchs?
But I actually had a dismal winless season this past season.
Yeah, this past season. But like before that, I think you had a couple of undefeated seasons. I feel like
I don't even know.
I feel like the year you took over for me, we went undefeated, and
that the year we fought the Nightmares at the very end.
No, that was the year. I thought that was the year after. I don't know.
I got so many concussions that year, I probably forgot.
Regardless, yeah, undefeated seasons. They're definitely very rare. Greg's the only one who's ever had one, apparently.
With his two victories next to it.
With his 2 victories.
Still counts.
Nightmares for the win. Yeah, that Nightmares fight was not dope. It sucked a lot.
It was so difficult.
It was very hard.
Although I will say that was the first time I saw Brian become like super serious Brian. He was no longer like soft serve ice cream Brian. I remember I was sitting on the list and being like, oh, my whole body hurts. I think Al just killed me. And I looked over at Brian. He's sitting there like deadpan. And I'm like, I'm going to look back over here.
But that was the gauntlet. That was the day you just
I kept on locking up.
You just got those fucking who were they? Wassits, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Or was that the when you fought Monarchs last season you're talking about?
It was no. This was before we did the quarters. It was the last. It was the fight to end the season where if we won, we won the season. If the Nightmares won, they won the season. It went like 20-something rounds, I think.
Yeah.
I think it was 23.
Yeah, that probably was then because I was like, oh, I got these brand new gauntlets. They're gonna be awesome. All my problems are solved.
Yeah, and then like
and then
immediately,
I like punched one guy and I couldn't move my hand. I'm like, what the?
Yeah.
Oh man.
It was the only time I'd seen you mad, and like for the longest, I thought it was the fight, and I'm like, what's going on? What happened? Oh fuck! Oh fuck! And then you're just like, no, I just hate these fucking gauntlets, man. I'm so mad about them.
I'm just like the gauntlet destroyer.
You are,
gauntlets
dude.
I get, they just explode.
Dude, my scales. I had those scale mittens for like 2 years. basically undamaged. Had no issues with them. I gave them to you for one fight. They came back. The thumbs are basically falling off. It was like, what? How? How do you do
I
this?
don't know. I just gripped so hard.
Is that how you broke your hand? Because you just
Maybe.
gripped so
I just
hard.
squeezed so hard I broke my own hand. The only one that can break me is myself.
All right. Wild. So how did you guys find fighting? How did you find the sport?
You want to go first? You want me to go first?
Sure, I'll go first because I found it first, I guess. That makes sense.
It's true.
I actually saw my first time ever seeing any fighting was at a little event in New Hampshire where they have like all these like best cheeseburger, best milkshake, but then they have like best fighting gym and best this and that and all sorts of stuff. And the Knights Hall was actually there, and I was there for some other reason, and I saw them fighting. But the people I was there helping out, they were like, "Oh yeah, supposedly there's going to be these crazy night guys setting up next to us fighting in armor," and I'm like, "What? Like that sounds absolutely awesome." And it was, I think it was Ringo and Lane, just like got in armor and fought like arming sword and stuff, and like real simple looking back on it. But at the time, I was like, "This is so hardcore." I was like, "I need to do this," and then I think I joined the Knights Hall like a month after that, and had my first suit of armor like 2 weeks after that.
Credit card.
Yep. Apparently PayPal lets you use a credit card, which is cool. Yeah.
For me, I found it in a really roundabout way. My cousin Richie, who is a friend of the Brookses, he was the evil knight in King Richard's Fair for like a decade. And he had like the sweet goatee, and he always just like would scowl, but he just became friends with them through like, I don't know whether it was SCA or just Ren Fair stuff, but he would always come and like regale us with stories of like sword fighting and swashbuckling. And I'd be like, oh my goodness, he is the man. All I want to do is fight people with swords. And even when I was a kid, I was always like collecting swords and different memorabilia. And eventually I was talking to my cousin Rich, and he just connected me with Kat. And it was like, at first, that's when I had just like $0. I just like gotten out of college, and he was like, cool, your Gambeson's going to be $100. No, it's like $100. Oh, I can't do that. And then I saw, I think it was like a Facebook ad or something for the Knights Hall. And I was like, okay, cool. I can at least go and train and check it out. And the day I showed up, there were actually no classes. I didn't check the schedule or anything. And I remember this so vividly. I just showed up. I'm like, am I in the right place? It's this big mill building. And I eventually found my way up to the top. I'm like knocking on this door at like 9 a.m. If you've ever been to the hall, no one is awake at 9 a.m. They had like just gone to bed. And that's when Marie had those super sick red dreads. And she answers the door, and I'm like, ah. I was a bit softer than I am now. And I was like, is this the Knights Hall? Do you guys fight here? And she's like, yeah, can you come back in like 12 hours? And the next day there was a chapter match. And I was talking to Jay on the phone, and he was like, hey, we're looking for volunteers to help out. And I was like, yeah, sure. Like, I'm a lifeguard. I can do like medic if you want to. Terrible idea. Should never have said that. Mangler ended up splitting open the top of his hand, and there was just blood dripping on the ground. I remember hearing someone say, whose blood is that? And he goes, oh, I think it's mine. I'm trying to like, he wouldn't even take a bandage. He's like, you got any electrical tape? Bit it off, and he's like, I'm good. And just mashed some gauze into his gauntlet and then kept fighting. And that was how I found the sport, and also how I was instantly terrified of getting struck. I was like, yeah, people must bleed. People must bleed like all the time. And it was just, I was instantly hooked. And it was so much fun. And actually, the first 3 times I fought in armor, I was able to borrow Ringo's kit for my first and second fight, and Brian's kit on my third. And I remember putting on Brian's plate legs, and like, I'm pretty medium, but Brian's got these like long, like Kermit the Frog legs, and like those plate legs were just digging right into my business. And I'm like, how does he even fight in this? I spent an entire round not moving at all, because I was like, I can't move.
I can't move, but as long as I don't fall down.
Julie,
I just gotta grapple someone.
Julie, how do you know which night that was? Like, Mangler's wrist has exploded multiple times.
Yeah, right.
Like, I'm trying to like place it. I'm like, which chapter match is this?
Mangler blood. All
Yeah.
right, that narrows down like half of the 300 fights that I've seen.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I have Mangler blood on at least 2 of my shields.
That's how you enchant a weapon to get to like certain base magic. You just get Sasquatch blood and you sprinkle it on.
But you have to earn it. You have to like
Yeah.
take it from him yourself. Oh man. All right. What were your first fights?
My first fight was actually not like that experience like Greg's at all. My first fight was just like a super laid back, like they were like, hey, we're going to the Connecticut Renaissance Fair this weekend, you should come hang out. And I had like a 1-on-1. I did a little 3-on-3 and it was pretty laid back.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, this isn't so bad at all. I did take one good butt shot though. I forget who hit me.
Booty blast.
I don't know who it was. But that's like all I had taken in class thus far was like some workouts and like footwork and like ass to rail. I'm like, all right, I got this. I can do this.
Ready. I'm so
And
ready.
I was like, I'm like pushing a guy into the rail and I'm like, yeah, I'm definitely kicking this guy's ass. And like it like popped into the back of my head, ass to rail. I'm like, oh shit. And then I see someone out of my peripheral like winding up and I'm like, no. Oh,
You can only clench so hard to protect yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. The clenching doesn't actually protect you at all.
Yeah, you just gotta like loosen, go spaghetti. Just let it blast you around.
Just get all up in there. It'll be fine. You'll be fine.
Yeah.
Great.
My first fight was 2017 New World Cup. And
Trial by fire.
It was hilarious because I'm driving down in the car with Richard Holmes. And we're driving in like this, he has like an old school Lincoln. And we're just driving down. He's like, so man, this is how it's going to go. I'm going to grab some guy and I'm just going to like rip off his head. And you're just trying to like chop his ass off. And we're like making this game plan. Like, yeah, we're going to thrash people. We've been training for a few months. I've been doing bear crawls. And I get into the list and I'm like, oh my goodness. Like I'm starting to freak out. And like, I'm starting to look at the other fighters. It was the first swords across from us. And I go running across because Richie was like, I'll be over there. We were the Dark Knights. And I ran into CJ and I'm sitting there in kind of like this middle moment, like, well, do I attack him? Do I not? And then like a choo-choo train, Andrew Dion comes running across the field and I'm normally this wide. He made me that wide for like 3 seconds. And then CJ just started wailing on like my hip flexor and then rotated to my butt cheek. And I was like, this is terrible. Why did I do this? But then Jay was like, hey, you took those hits like a champ. I promise that's the worst it's ever going to be. And I was like, oh, okay. But New World Cup was my first ever
What a
fight.
fucking liar! What a fucking liar!
That's as bad as it gets, kid. You're like, oh, sweet.
And it was with some borrowed Ringo kit that I remember having to tape together. And I'm like, this is how it's supposed to be, right?
Dude,
They're all like, oh,
tape
that's Ringo.
works so good. Tape works so good.
Yeah, it does. It gets you a perfect fit every time.
Yeah, my tape is never what breaks. It's always something else.
Right?
You can always add more tape.
So what kept you guys coming back? Especially because like the hall training like isn't easy, and for a while, like I think we were getting fun now, but for a while it felt like it was not. We weren't doing fun stuff. Like we weren't doing much sparring. We just work out really hard, and not like you didn't even get to like lift big weights and be like, look how strong I am.
They're like, do 500 burpees. Do it. I'm like, what? Nervously throwing up.
So yeah, what kept you coming back, and particularly like 6 and 4 years later, why do you still fight?
I mean, the fighting itself is awesome. Like getting in armor, getting in the list, especially the group fights for me personally. But it's just fighting is awesome. Maneuvering around the battlefield and trying to get shit done is a blast. And it's if you got to do a bunch of miserable training to be decent at it, then it's worth it. Kind of. And also like I always feel like I have to prove, like I came from like played a lot of football and that stuff where you kind of, once you start, you don't quit. You just, I don't know, you don't complain about shit and you do what you're told. And so I was like, cool, whatever. These workouts suck, but I'm gonna do it.
But everyone else is doing it.
Exactly, everyone's doing it, and this guy's telling me to do it, so I'm gonna do it.
I'm just gonna do it. Just keep coming back. 6 years later, 7 years later, 8 years later. I'm 90. I'm still in armor.
Speaking of which, is Roland still fighting, or is he dead?
Oh,
I don't know. He's dead to me.
I was like, speaking of 90 and in steel.
Yeah.
But
He's a badass, but like also like has all the wrong viewpoints. So like yeah.
But I guess for me, like what kept me coming back, actually to allude to my very first day in fighting, after Andrew Dion turned me from a large into a medium, he actually came and found me after that round, and he like after the fights and stuff, and he was like, "Hey, you're the guy in the Griffin helm, right?" And I was like, "Yeah, dude, that was a sweet hit." He was like, "Here, let me tell you what you did wrong, so you don't do it again. So you can, like, learn from that." And I remember thinking, like, I did a little bit of boxing and MMA for a while, and people would always capitalize on your weaknesses and then just like rub it in your face afterward. And I was immediately confronted by a dude who was my foe like 20 minutes ago, and he's like, "Here, like let's go through this growth process together."
Yeah.
And I was immediately just I fell in love with the community. And it's like, just to reiterate or like what Brian said, like the fighting is obviously super awesome. It's the best part of the whole sport, especially like those big group fights where you're just like lost in a sea of sweat and steel, and you're like, this is what I wanted to do my whole life. But like,
Sweat and Steel should be one of our new events, by the way. Like Blood and Steel, Sweat and Steel.
It's just like doing jazzercise and steel. We just have our armored tops and like booty shorts. Let's do it.
Yeah. I'm actually very in for this. Weirdly, I'm wearing booty shorts right now. Of course I'm in for this. Oh no, I dropped my phone.
But I say that's probably my biggest thing. Just kind of like being in a fitness community where people just like encouraging everybody to be more fit, so you're just less bad at your sport. Like I've never gotten good. I'm just less bad.
Yeah, you're probably good now. I'd probably say you're good.
Thank you. It's like, have you ever seen that meme? If it's like that little kid, and it's like the news lady talking to him, and she's like, "Oh, like you're your first day at school. Like, do you miss your mom?" He goes, "No." And she like starts crying. I saw that same format, but it's like, "Oh, so you've been fighting in the sport for 3 years, so you're good now, right?" And he kind of goes.
Like I'm having fun.
But seriously,
My gym teacher said that's what matters.
right before he threw a dodgeball at me.
Oh, armored dodgeball, but we use like super heavy medicine balls.
You shot puts.
Shot puts.
I can get like 3 from the high school.
I'm so
it is an amazing community though. That's for sure one of the big points.
Yeah.
I haven't done anything else where you go and then like you fight a bunch of people and then you're crashing at the house of the away team, like the team that's hosting you to fight. Like you go to another school and you fight their football team. Whether you win or you lose, like people are pissed after.
Yeah.
You know, fuck you guys, blah blah blah. This is like, oh, you kicked our butts. Here's some beer. Come crash on my couch. You're like, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everyone's super positive for the most part.
For the most part. Yeah. Except for, you know.
Yeah, you can find wieners where you look for them.
Yeah. Don't look in this area right here.
All right, I'm signing off.
Don't drink water. Water's bad.
What?
Oh, it just tried to kill me.
Yeah, you gotta drink beer only.
Oh.
Sorry. It's a tough life.
Only Bush Light.
Only Bush Light.
Okay.
I'm pushing hard for that sponsorship.
It's coming. It's coming.
Yeah, the only thing I drink is Busch Light.
Speaking of, Greg, you still trying to get that Rand sponsorship?
I've tried so hard. I like sent them emails and stuff, and I was like, but I'll like paint it on my head, and I just don't get responses.
It's terrible.
Yeah.
I know Jay said he was working on that angle. He's like, I'm working on something.
I got
Get real close.
it.
And he is far more motivated to do things than I am. Just things in general.
Just all things. Anything. He's just like, I didn't even want to get up today. Like, why would you?
Brandon, one day we will get this sponsorship. Maybe just the Nightmares could get it.
Yo, Pat's Blue Ribbon, Tybird, I'm in. If someone can get me a
that
PBR,
that would be so sick.
I want a PBR, Tybird, so bad.
And we all roll in with punch shields that are PBR cans.
Oh yes. Get that. I bet we could get a helmet that's kind of shaped like it.
Cans. Just. Although Ringo and I did have our pseudo night fight when we were both in terrible shape, where we were chugging beers between rounds. That is still a top 10 memory for me.
Yeah. Speaking of, that's a great segue. What are your favorite moments in your favorite fights?
Oof, I legit made a list. I made a list of just Monarch moments.
Yes.
Because
perfect.
Even still, so like I've thoroughly enjoyed captaining the Nightmares, but like, I mean, you guys all know captaining comes with like those different stresses. Yeah. Like showing up to fight and you're like, just give me orders, man. Like I will go and just get crushed or whatever, do my best, whatever. But like, I'm always like, all right, gotta think of the best strategy, and then I gotta make sure that person gets time and kit, but not against that person because then they're gonna die. But like Monarchs, like that year was just tip top.
Yeah,
but it's like I think it's like I don't want to get. I'm in like coach mindset right now because I just had track practice.
Keep it. It's a good mindset.
But like the best thing for me at least was that double trip to Canada. When we went the first time.
Oh, and then we came back.
Brian was like, I forgot my soft kit. We're unpacking to get ready for this fight. We're like, we're doing this. We got 5 guys. We're ready for this. It was the 3 of us, Brian's cousin Chris, and Sloaney. And we're like, dude, we got this. I'm like looking at the other teams, trying to like size them up. And Brian's like, oh shit, dude. I'm like, what? I forgot the one thing I need to wear my armor. Luckily, the Canadians are all saints. Yeah, they gave us some stuff.
Back to the positivity of the community. One of the good fighters on the team we're facing is like, oh, I'll sit out. You could use my soft kit. I'm like, okay, yeah, absolutely.
Oh, and like that fight was super fun. Like we definitely got beat up because we were always team endurance. Like we will fight longer, and eventually you'll get tired from beating in our heads, and then we'll win. But that second trip,
we didn't win though. They just beat us up.
yeah, that's how we just got beat up.
It's not a foolproof plan.
my favorite. All right, my favorite part of that, actually, my least favorite part of that, probably Brian's too, is there's we're doing the match. Sloan goes down. I think I go down. And then the other two, and then it's just Brian and Dom. And it's been less than a minute into the match. And they went for another 7 minutes. And I didn't know that matches timed out. Like, I thought I'd read all the rules. Apparently, I didn't. And, like, they time it out. And I'm like, holy fuck, how did he do that? And for people who don't know, which I don't know who does it, Brian is, like, ridiculous endurance. It's like his thing that he always seemed to come in with. Like at the end of the round, everyone else is like super tired and panting. Brian's like, "Yeah, we ready to go? Like the most tired I've seen him is like, "Yeah, I could use a break."
He's actually leaning on the rail.
So I'm like, Dom's. So this is gonna be like, you know, like I can't believe Dom went that long. But also, Dom's gonna be out because Dom's fucking huge. He's like 6'2", 300 pounds. There's no way.
That's monster.
And then like the next round, Dom comes back in. Like I think he took a round off, and it was just like
that was demoralizing.
Yeah,
because I remember leaving the list, and I was like so gassed, and I'm like, well, I bet he's more tired than I
am. Psych.
Like, oh crap.
I was stoked not many people came to practice day because I got to fight. Why would you not get to fight? Because people didn't show up. Land.
Maybe because he wanted to be more low key.
I don't know.
That is also a fun thing about practicing, though. Like, I think all of us individually have had times where like we have just been like we've gone somewhere. He lends out his armor. Good man. Always lend out the kit.
Yeah. Or rent it out and collect that money. Capitalism.
Ringo, the first time I borrowed your kit, you're like, okay, you can borrow my kit, but you have to clean it. And I'm like, yeah, sure. And Kat was like, you have to clean Ringo's kit? I should have been like industrial buffer. I went through like 2 rolls of paper towels just trying to get all that stuff off. That was great. Totally worth it, though.
You were making a point, though, I think. Not about cleaning my kit. Do you not?
Wait.
Okay. You were.
Oh, yeah, because you're dirty. You're a dirty boy.
Okay, whatever. I think that was the point. But anyway, I am literally the trash knight for a reason. So, like, before we get back into favorite moments, or back into it, we didn't really get into it. Before we get into favorite moments, why was that season so fun? Like, I keep talking about it. Brian, you've talked about OG Monks. Like, why did that season, like, for you guys feel so good? Like, for me, I mean, like to hear you guys first, and then I'll as I was the captain, so like I had that extra pressure you were talking about, but like it was still the best of the times I've done that. So I'll go last.
I think the like fighting at the hall is awesome, and that's where we definitely like hone a lot of our skills. But going on the road for me is like a lot of fun. You know, I love traveling somewhere, meeting new people, fighting new people, trying stuff out, and that was a season where I think we went to Canada in February. We went to the Mead and Mayhem in Virginia, and we went to the Louisville Slugfest in Kentucky. So we had like 3 big road trips where we're all packing into cars and vans and trucks and driving on the road, and it's just a good time. A road trip's awesome when you don't get to fight when you're there.
Yeah.
Fighting road trips are awesome.
Yeah.
Especially because like you have those hours to like get in your like you can get yourself ready, and it feels more like this holy quest, this expedition.
Yeah.
And getting there, you can just like let loose. But I guess for me, I think we had that unique season. I remember Ringo sent out this big text to like everyone. He was like, "Hey, I really just want to like establish expectations." And we like at that point, I think we maybe had like 6 or 7 people on the team, but it was like 4 or 5 of us that are like, "Yo, we'll travel anywhere. We'll pick up fights. Just find us a fight, and we're all gonna make it." And we had these. I get like what Brian's saying. We have all these super awesome opportunities to go places and fight people that we never would have known. I hold in my heart those fond memories of just trudging around and looking for poutine in Canada, and it's like. Even like when Brian, when we went to Mead and Mayhem, and it's fun to be somewhere else. It's also fun to like fight outside of the hall because you're fighting those big boys all the time, especially in that old chapter match mindset where it's just kind of like, yeah, we'll fight until someone dies, I guess. And I just love that when we started fighting, we established those expectations, and we made fights so people could fight as much as they wanted to. We were fighting like sometimes twice a month, but we were getting out there and doing it. And it was awesome. That was to me, that was the best.
Yeah. For me, it was that, and like that was the first time on outside of the Executioners that I felt we built a team rapport as a club, as a chapter.
Mm-hmm.
And like part of that was like you were saying, like I picked people the first, so like. It was really like 3 seasons because like I did 2 seasons and then Brian maybe 4 seasons and then Brian took over for me and like did a season or 2 seasons. I don't remember when we had to redraft.
Time is amorphous.
It really is.
We're in the Minecraft Matrix.
But like I remember you came up to me afterwards and you were like, when I drafted you were like, why'd you pick me over Chris? And like there were a couple of reasons, like I thought you had more promise as a fighter, but also like you were like, I'm willing to fucking go anywhere and do anything, and like that's specifically what I wanted. I was like, I want to get the people who want to show up the most, and we're just gonna go and we're gonna travel. And we did real practices as a team. So in addition to doing our regional stuff with the Executioners and doing our event and doing our practices at the Knights Hall and doing our events like New World Cup and stuff, we still like we didn't do a lot, but we found like once or twice a month. No, probably not twice a month. Once every 2 months, we would get together though, and like one time we just did duels. I still have this like video of us. Greg stabbed me in the throat.
Okay, you walked into my sword, Evan. I've heard about this shit for 3 years.
Yeah, because you stabbed me in the throat.
And you will continue to hear about it, Greg.
I remember being white with fear when that happened.
I just rewatched
I'm sweating now just thinking about
I
it.
just rewatched it the other day, yeah. And like I literally step into it, it goes up, and you can see from your body, you're just like, oh no, what have I done? And I'm like you can't even see me react. I remember in the helmet, I went, oh god, that was my neck. Oh, it's not there anymore. Okay, and I just start hitting you. And then and in the video, it just looks like it's like you're like, what happened? And I'm like, ha. Yeah.
An opening.
I can talk, Brandon. I've only broken your foot and stabbed you in the eye. That's it.
That's it.
That's it.
You have 2 eyes and 2 feet.
Yeah.
Only have 1 neck.
Was the dude with Juranty looking from Tom Cruise from Tropic Thunder?
Les Grossman. Oh my god.
Oh no.
Oh, it's the glasses.
Oh, it is the glasses. And like the you can't really see the mustache, but you can see the like.
Although I will stand by this, Land
Yeah,
Pearson
there it is.
Brian's Canadian doppelganger.
They
I saw
like
a
for
picture
real
of him.
though.
I saw it and I was like, this is definitely just Brian.
Yeah.
I was
Not
like scrolling through some pictures and I was like, no, this is a
A lot-
Canadian dude
yeah.
who's not Brian.
not even just on looks. They're similar. Like they're both the nicest humans you'll ever meet. They both fight forever. I've never seen them on the field at the same time.
Ew?
Yeah, that's one that like a lot of times people will be like, oh, this guy looks like you. And you're like, no, it doesn't look like me at all. And then Greg showed me a picture of him and I'm like, that's not my armor. Like, what the? Who the hell is this guy? That was weird.
Yeah, you guys should fight. It'd be a good fight.
I've always said I'll fight anyone, anytime. I may or may
Lance,
not
show
win.
up into his house right now. Just crash through the window. But yeah, that season like was all for me. It was about winning, like that was part of it, but mostly it was about like I've always liked chapter matches as practice for like the big events, right? So your big national events are the ones that you have to be super diehard serious about. And every once in a while you get pretty serious about a chapter match. We actually always get pretty serious about a chapter match but like that's like when you're on the field and like someone's killing you and you're like, I will survive. I will.
It's kind of the nature of the sport. Like once you get out there and weapons start flying, you kind of have to take it seriously.
Yeah, it's hard to fight casual.
Yeah.
But like that, like the idea of just like getting people time, for me was so huge, and we went on like 1,000 road trips. Everyone was always down to travel. Everyone was down to fucking show up and practice.
I was so bummed. I missed the one where you guys went. This is the second time I went to Pennsylvania. I had a fever of like almost 103. And this was before I was even married to Crystal. And I texted her and I was like, do you think you could like drive me to Nashua and help me with my armor? Like, I'll probably feel better by the time I get there tomorrow. And she's like, what's your fever? And I was like, it's like 102.7. She was like, I'm turning off my phone and I'm going to call your parents and tell them to come take care of you. And I was so bummed. That was like the one trip that I missed.
Yeah.
But we made up for it. And just, I loved how many trips we took.
I think that
we
was
just really committed to those outside fights.
Yeah. And like without giving up on the local fights too. We did it because we did a shit ton of local fighting. So I don't know. It's doing a shit ton of fights. It was building that bond of like making sure that we were there both in and out of armor and like just like being, so that like it wasn't just like show up, because like I'll show up and fight for anyone, but it's not always you know, sometimes you just show up and fight, which is like good. Fighting's good, but
Which can be fun. Murking is really fun. Because it does not matter if you win or lose.
And
Yeah.
murking
Not
is
my
great because
team.
it's like I feel like it's less stressful, and you can
Yeah.
always you have the metacognition
Oh, yeah.
to think about. Okay, I'm gonna try this, this, and this. Those are my goals for today. You're like, yeah, you want to win and stuff, and you're like, yeah, I want to win for the guy that like believed in me and needed extra dudes. But you're like, I'm here to get better for me.
And you want to win. You want to win so that you don't get beat up.
By the way, I'll murk for anyone.
yeah, where Merc's looking for hire, and by hire we
Yeah.
mean just
Yep. We'll murk for food.
or not,
Story.
probably, honestly.
I mean,
We'll murk for poutine.
We'll definitely Merc for poutine.
yeah.
Yeah.
Preferably after the fight.
Always.
All right, favorite fights, favorite moments.
As monarchs or not?
I mean, both. Why not? Everything.
Well, I'll start with one of my favorite moments. I was looking through some good old Facebook memories, and it was when we went to that skate park. It was Brandon Brothers skate park, and they were like, Ringo's like, "Yo, dude, we should joust." I'm like, "Let's find some skateboards." And we grabbed some poleaxes, and they just literally pushed us into each other. And that was that whole day. We were all just doing goofy fights, and I remember that was the first time I really got punched by Jay, and I could taste my thoughts. And it was just, and all the people there were super rad. And then Brandon in his armor just starts drumming on the drum set, and
we should go back. We should do that again. We were talking about how cool that was that night, and we never went back. We gotta do this.
that was
Yeah, I had super FOMO after that one. I missed that for one reason or another, and I was like, that sounds so cool.
Like, usually I hate fighting at other events. Like, I hate fighting at Ren fairs. I hate fighting like at most demo things, but that one was dope. That one was just fucking fun.
But our jousting was one of my favorite moments. But honestly, I think my favorite fight wasn't even as a monarch. It was when Brian and I jumped in my car and we drove to Meat and Mayhem.
Yeah.
And that's when we were fighting all the time. We were in super good shape, and it was like 97, and everyone was just dropping. And it was the two of us, Kansky and
CJ.
who's this? Yeah, CJ and Swamp Monster. What's his name?
Sam Jensen.
Yeah.
Yes, and it was us against and it's like so many people were dropping out. I remember picking up my helmet, it being hot to the touch just from the sun.
Yeah.
But like we were all in
was a
just
hot
like
day.
great shape, and it is just so much fun.
Josh,
fighting tired people.
oh,
Yeah,
Josh, are we
that was
getting?
like
Go.
that was like we met up at the Knights Hall Friday night and like drove 5 hours to Kraken's place, crashed on the couch for like 7 hours, woke up to drive 4 hours or 5 hours to Virginia. Like we're just like drive, nap, drive, fight. Like
We literally made it like 30 minutes before they started fighting. We're like,
Yeah,
get out,
yeah.
I'll run super fast,
Yeah.
get out there. Also, thank you, Josh, for running an awesome event.
Yeah,
I know you put in a lot of
Yeah, it
effort
was
towards
fun.
that. That was
Josh,
amazing.
are we getting? I know you keep having to cancel it. Do we know if there's going to be another Meat and Mayhem? People want it.
Yeah,
People-
totally, man. It's gonna be awesome.
2022. Okay,
also they
that's
better
a long
stock up,
time, but that's fair.
because I'm pretty sure last time we drank all the mead that they
Drank
had.
all of it.
But
They
did
ran-
you also provide all the mayhem?
Oh, there was
I
plenty.
think
of
we were
mayhem.
the prime purveyors of mayhem.
Yeah.
That was the New Hampshire export we brought.
Oh, JoJo! We miss JoJo too,
hmm
and you, Kraken. We also miss you.
I miss everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is like the most like
The lost year.
I get in touch with people.
I don't know what you're talking about. I see him every week.
So Brian, what were your favorite moments in fights?
Yeah.
My most honestly, I have a horrible memory. Like even like the night of a fight, people are like, "Oh, so how do you think I did?" And I'm like, "I'm gonna be honest, dude, no idea." Like I have this like it all blurs together for me.
Ugh, that doesn't sound like
So it's-
TBI at all.
It's hard. It's hard for like to
Wait,
pick
we
out
fought
specific
today?
moments. But I think my favorite tournament was when I went to Ireland. That was like the first time I'd ever
Oh,
been
yeah.
overseas, and it was like a pretty small tournament, and it was cool because we got to stay in the castle, and everybody on site was super cool and showing us around. And yeah, like I said, that was my first like overseas trip. So Kyle and I went for a week and drove around and stayed at all these cool spots, and then like finished it off with like 2 days of fighting.
Nice.
It was awesome. That was a good time.
Yeah. Sounds dope.
I was gonna have that first international fight. Like, I don't really consider Canada international, even though they are technically international, because they're like our long lost cousins up there.
Yeah,
I was gonna get so close to it, but then the vid made us lose that year. So now,
are you gonna try for IMCF this year or Botten?
it's looking like it. Brian was talking my ear off about it, and I was like, now I have to do it.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, I mean, it's as far as they know, Poland is still happening, right?
Poland is
Yeah.
still on as of today.
Yeah.
IMCF Botten is, we haven't heard news if they're gonna restart it or not. Monaco is ridiculously hard to get to. You have to fight in Bohurt League. So good luck, anyone who wants to do that, because you can't, your team.
Where's Battle of the Nations going to be if that happens?
It's currently still Romania, but who knows? Yeah, it's all expenses paid to go to Monaco, but you also have to do Bohurt League, which like they just banned all the armor, so and all your tabards. So
They're like, oh, all you guys can't fight? Great, we're just gonna go keep fighting. Thanks.
Yeah, basically, don't ever fight H&B is what I'm saying. Yeah.
I fought at a couple
Trash
of
talk.
the events by just like playing dumb. They're like, this, and this, and this isn't right, and I'm like, oh, oops, I don't know, I'll fix it. They're like, all right, just go fight. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, I got it. Brian, did you how was your experiences going overseas and fighting outside of Ireland? So obviously Ireland was dope, but like was Denmark and Scotland, did you have a blast on those too?
Yeah, it's I have a horrible time like when the pressure's on, like pretty much my whole life. Like I used to run track and I'd do like super low stress, like small home meet, and I'd like, like, oh, I almost broke a school record, and then it's like, all right, now this is for all the marbles. It's like the big race at the end of the year, and I just like trip over a hurdle and wipe out. I'm like, no, I'm like a wicked choke artist. So like, but like the big tournaments, I feel like I go to, at least the first time I go to them, I feel like I suck. Like that was my first play. I was out there in Denmark. I was doing 16s. And I was like in the center group, so I'm back with Andre, and he's like, I'm like sitting there for a minute, like watching shit happen, and he's finally like, go, 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 and I just full on sprinted this guy and cross check him and fall down with him, and I was like, no. I don't know, like when like chapter matches at first I would do it, and then once I like fought it, somewhere outside of the state, then I was like, oh well, fighting in the Knights Hall is not stressful anymore because I fought over there. And then once I went to Ireland, it was like, well, fighting in New Jersey isn't stressful anymore because I've been outside the country. So like every time I go to the next tier, the tier below gets a little easier.
So was Scotland still stressful?
Yeah, the big tournaments like that, I get all stressed out. My mouth gets dry, and I'm like, ugh. Like once I get like the pressure's on and you need to perform, I typically like just like turtle. I just like find a spot on the rail and grab people and just like sit there because I'm like, I don't want to go and like attack someone and fall down.
Yeah.
Although I've literally seen you grab 3 people.
Yeah.
Yeah, it typically works pretty well.
Not falling down is the key part of this sport.
Yeah, I mean, traveling and going to those big tournaments is wild, and it's a blast. But I typically, at the big tournaments, I almost don't have I have more fun being there than I do fighting because I'm so stressed out about the fighting.
Josh just said you didn't do that on Night Fight, Brian.
Also, Night Fight was
he's
like,
all mad.
I don't know, somehow it was like super low stress. All the lights were down and there was just like a small amount of people there, and I was like, oh, this is cool.
I remember on the for the Champions episode, I was like super stressed out, and you were like, I'm not stressed at all. Like, I already won one. Like I already won. Like I can't lose. I literally can't lose. Fuck you.
Oh, Brandon, buddy.
Yeah, Brian did fuck you up a little bit.
I literally sat in a hotel. I was an alternate for 2 episodes, and I sat in a hotel, and every day everyone would come back to they're like, oh man, that was sick. And I'm like, Cool. But although I'm glad I didn't fight because I was definitely a dookie fighter then. I just think that like they were like, he looks young, we'll put him on maybe. But I got paid to sit in a hotel and plan my wedding.
What episode would have you been on?
It was the one that I think Mikey won, and then the one after that.
Yeah, you probably wouldn't have gotten out of that one. I don't remember what the one after that was. Was that is that the one that Carl won? You might have made it out of Carl's episode.
That's been my a bit like maybe, just maybe, but as a devout Christian, it was not the Lord's timing, and I'll get on TV one day. I hope it's just not on like the news.
I mean, you're on this. This is the internet TV.
It is Twitch.tv.
Yeah.
Hey, technically it's TV.
Internet TV. What's up? You got your 1 hour of fame. There's like a whole maybe 10 people watching. I can't actually see how many people watch when I run this for some reason. It's very annoying.
Oh, it's Kevin Kitty.
7. Oh man, my numbers are down. No one liked us today.
It's okay. This is literally the highlight of my day so far.
Yeah. So it's going pretty good for me.
I just anticipated this
too.
I just anticipated this whole night just being like us just shooting this shit about like OG Monarchs days, yeah, and not even answering like any questions.
I mean, that's basically what we're doing. Speaking of questions, so like when you're doing the high pressure or like the also Brandon was cursing at censored out my Twitch app, but not on my browser. It's wild. When we do like either like a brutal chapter match or like those high pressure events, both of you guys seem to always be like maybe not like in between rounds, but definitely like if we have a break, you're always both up and smiling, and right after the event, you're always like the two of the first people to be like shaking people's hands and talking about how like cool it was. So like, how do you keep smiling at brutal events or high pressure events or events where you have like a tragic loss? Because like that's been my experience with you guys, and that's not my experience as a fighter. I just bitch the whole time. I bitch when we're winning.
Yeah, I don't know. It's. I think I just enjoy the fighting so much, even if I'm losing. Like if you're winning, you're standing more, so you're getting more tired, but you're happy because you're winning. And then if you get knocked down, you're not as tired, so you're happy because you're not tired. So I'm just like, hey,
pretty good way of thinking. That's pretty good.
It's so good.
I'm either gonna win or I'm gonna not be so tired, maybe. So
it's so
I don't know.
good.
And it's just even if you go out there, like swing weapons around, chop some people, guy throws you down, like it's just fun to do.
That's true.
Mm-hmm. It is America's pastime, or will be.
When will it be America's pastime?
I don't know. Wishful thinking.
For
But I guess
sons.
But I guess like for me, I've always enjoyed like that physical competition and just being able to literally just give 100% of what you have, because you can't get 110% because that's ridiculous. I don't know why people say that. But it's when you can really go out and just give all of your gas on something, and you can feel like at least remotely proud of like how much you've been training. It's like all of those hours you spend doing push-ups and squats and burpees, they can finally be put to use. And all of those hundreds and hundreds of strikes in the Pell, you can finally employ those things. And I feel like that's the payout.
Yeah.
And I've definitely had fights that I haven't enjoyed because I was so stressed out. And I've learned from that experience. It's like, this sport is way too dope to just be upset about it. And don't get me wrong, like I've definitely been salty about being like titty whipped during a fight. And like I get grouchy sometimes.
I've never seen it. I've literally not like I've seen it like after a round. I've seen it after a round. You don't do the constant smile. But like
that's because it was in my Griffin helmet.
But like
see that.
I like usually it'll be like you'll be like, I'm so mad, and then like 5 minutes later you're like, this is dope.
But yeah, it's I can never not view this sport as something that is just like, this is the coolest sport. Like, yeah, you can play football, but like everybody plays football. But like, how often can I be like, it's time to get axed, blah blah blah. And I ended up telling one of my like coworkers, and they were like, excuse me, you do what for fun? Because I had just nicked my eyebrow and I had that liquid seal bandage and it was all gross and scabby. And they're like, what'd you do to your face? And I was like, let me tell you. And it's super fun. And I love sharing that with other people. And especially like when I can be at a fight and I look around and I see other people are like, yeah, like they're getting all amped up. It's like you can just eat that energy for lunch. It's the best. I love it. I'm all amped up right now just thinking about it.
Yeah.
Getting all antsy.
So good. We're not fighting for like 2 months.
Well, what's
We got
going
battle
on?
days,
What's happening this weekend? We should all fight this weekend.
Well, actually,
We should all fight and then go to Market Basket and get rotisserie chickens.
Yes. We should just start doing fucking what was it they used to do back in the day where everyone just showed up randomly, like pre-planned? Flash mobs. Flash mob fights.
do a Shaw's parking lot.
Flash battle.
Let's all night fight Greg.
I'm ready.
We should travel down here and just fight. Yeah, I'm not ready to do state travel till I get my shot. But that's tomorrow, baby. I'm so excited.
Nice. I'll have my second one in 2 weeks.
Oh,
Yeah, that's sweet, dude.
nice.
We'll just roll.
I'm gonna be honest. I was super pessimistic about it. Like when they started to like, all right, we're gonna start vaccinating people. I'm like, God, I'm not gonna get mine till the fall. This is gonna be ridiculous. And then now they're like, oh no, you can get it like this month. I'm like, oh, sweet.
Yeah, it's great.
Let's go.
It's so good.
But I actually think I have like a small team practice this weekend.
Ooh.
At least I'm pressuring people to be like, hey, we're gonna go to Chuck's house and fight and grill. So
Nice.
if you guys want to come, you can just come and we'll bap on each other.
Well,
hey,
you should send me the details for that. I might be down.
I'll send the deets.
Yeah.
I also love looking at the chat and just looking at all these people like, I'm getting my vaccine. I'm getting my vaccine. We are finally getting out of this weird, terrible year where people just like I got so tired of watching old Botan videos and watching old IMCFs, and we're getting back to it. So something to be thankful for in a year that has been depressing. We're getting out of it, and summer's coming.
Yeah. Summer's coming. We're actually going to be able to fucking travel.
Yeah.
Oh, it's going to be so good. Something cool is happening on the 17th. What's happening on the 17th, Josh?
I actually think there's like mass battles or something. It's like an HMB thing. I read about that.
I don't want to do mass battles.
But they're using like they're
Why
not using steel. They're using like rattan and wooden weapons.
Oh, that's just going to do the SCA. Yeah. The SCA's fun. It's all right. It's okay.
I was going to go to Penzic last year. Obviously, it didn't happen, but I was all amped up for it. But I'm definitely still looking forward to trying it out again.
Yeah.
Even if it's just like days of training where I get to put on my armor and run around and get hit by people.
So Penzic is dope. Steel fighting Penzic is dope, but like Bear was just telling me Bicoline, which like is the week after. So Penzic, we get like 2,000 people on a battlefield. So like it's like a line battle. You get to look across and see that like 800 to 1,000 dudes across. And it's dope. And then we do ones in the woods and we do like different scenarios. It's great. And if you want, you can do fencing battles too. And then there's all the drinking and the partying. Also, like you can learn history if you want to.
I like that.
That's I guess a thing people
What's it called?
do. Well, this is Penzic. I'm talking about Penzic. Bicoline, which is in Canada, which is way closer. Well, Canada may not. I think the place in Canada, it's way closer. I think it's a 3-hour trip versus a 10-hour trip. I don't remember. I drove there once, and I don't remember because on the way back I stopped in Montreal, so like that changed the trip. But anyway, that is like so. This is like on a field, like a football field. Penzic's on like a football field or two. It's the battle. This is the entire site. So like You could just be walking through the woods and come across a fucking like battalion and be like, I gotta kill this whole battalion by myself. So yeah. So Bicoline might be the way to go. It's the fighting there is it's foam fighting.
Or take 2 weeks off and do both.
Ooh. Yeah, but then that's way less steel fighting you can go to. So
I mean, that's why I became a teacher. Summer's off.
Oh, yeah. Well, I guess you guys can both do it. Yo. I kind of have to do one. Fucking R&D. I get good money. I just don't get any time.
See, I have good time, but I have zero
But
money.
you have zero money. Ah. Let's move to France where we can get both.
Le papa.
Blah blah blah. Do you guys have any more favorite moments you want to talk about? Otherwise, I have more questions. I kind of did just want to just relive. So
I was literally just thinking about like when we went to Canada again and fought the Canadians, which again, every time I get to be with them or fight with them, it's amazing. And I love them all. But like when we went back and we actually won, I mean, granted, we also got to bring Al with us. And that's like, hey, we brought a polar bear with us.
They had a Dom. We get an Al.
We were just leveling the playing field.
But I just remember that whole day being like, this is such good fighting. And then we won. And then we were all like, you know what? Let's do the hardest thing possible. Let's get some ice cream. It was just delicious. And it was just sweet victory ice cream. And it was just so excellent.
That day was wild too, because the first fights we fought Joaquinin, I think it was. No, it was Les Patriots.
We fought the Patriots, yeah.
And it was going back and forth and back and forth. And like I'm like, I don't know if we're gonna beat them and get to the next fight. And then we like finally like we broke enough of their dudes that they couldn't keep fighting. And we won.
Even then, we only showed up with like 4 or 5 guys. We didn't show up with a lot of people.
No, we weren't very deep. And then when we fought the Dogs, I think we lost 1 round. Like we started off like so like, oh god, and then like we just fucking hit our stride, and it was Also, is that the time that we had the moose head?
Yeah.
Why didn't we steal that? Why didn't we steal
fit
that?
In his car. I was like, Al, you can take this, right? He was like, I think I might be able to fit it in. Just give me a minute. And he was like reorganizing everything. And then someone was like, but what if they try to ask us about it at the border? We're like, what? I wish we had that thing so bad.
Oh, that would have been such a good fucking.
They definitely would have missed it. They had
that is post battle loot. I mean, yeah, we would have gotten a bad thing on Airbnb, but who cares?
Yeah,
got free elk head.
Yeah,
just make a new Airbnb.
We might not be able to get Airbnb in Canada ever again, or go back to Canada ever again. We got elk head. Like we went there and we were not true Americans. True Americans would have stole that because they,
True.
We didn't live up to our country's terrible rules.
Because we go where we want, we take what we want.
Exactly.
Even if it's Canada.
Do you guys have any advice for new fighters on? I mean, just general advice, but also about like, particularly when like you're coming in and you're getting your ass kicked a lot, how to stay with it and find the fun.
Do you have an answer prepared? Because I actually thought of how I was going to answer this question.
You can go first.
Like for me, most of my first fights were all. I mean, my first fight was New World Cup, and I think my spine changed shape after that fight. And those fights after, it was all in-house New England fights, which are difficult. It's like no matter where you look, there's an executioner bearing down upon you. And it was just like that was really, really difficult for me, especially when my first big hurdle. I've had this conversation, I think, with everybody on here, specifically also a lot with Brandon. It's like, I like that person over there. Why do I want to attack them? Why do I want to like potentially cause them harm? And then Brandon told me one day, he was like, well, man, it's like, you got to give them the best fight possible. And I was like, you know what? You're right. Like I owe it to my friends to make it a steep learning curve. Yeah. There's always been a steep learning curve. And like, yeah, it's discouraging, but I mean, easy things aren't that fun or else it wouldn't be a challenge. I feel like this sport is unique where it's like, yeah, like again, I've never played football, but I'm going to poke holes in it because it's not as cool as our sport. It's like,
very American.
Like you can play your role on the team and like, yeah, your whole team might be successful. But it's like sometimes you get in those chapter matches and it's like it'll come down to those last couple fighters and how long you are just able to push like with your spirit through the fight. Like your body has given up. Like you've pissed your pants and you're sweating and crying under your helmet. But it's like it's that chutzpah. It's like you have being able to like tap into like the power that you have within yourself is amazing. And it's one of the guys that I love most in the sport is like Josh Morte. And I've had this conversation with him, and I've seen him get beaten up. And he's like, I do this sport because it's like the hardest thing I can do and because I'm scared of it. And I've been so inspired by him just to be like, yeah, you're not going to win every fight. If you won every fight, then you're fighting the wrong people. Then you got to go to that next level, or else you're just going to stay the same. Like I learned how to fight longsword by fighting like the two of you guys all the time.
Terrible.
And just I would leave with all these new dents and a lot new like ego bruises, but I got better. And now I'm not terrible at longsword. But I just like
and now you're good.
It's like good in italics. But like for new people, you just gotta keep fighting, and you gotta look like it's like the weird comment I said earlier. It's like if you like you can look for wieners where you find them. It's like it's the human condition to be able to find negativity where you want it. And even my own like my insecurities always come out, and I'm like, man, I'm not a good fighter. I'm never gonna get better. But it's like striving for positivity isn't just a good sports thing. It's just a good human thing. And if you do, anyone watching, have those thoughts of negativity, just talk to someone about it. Talk to your captain, talk to someone else in your team that you know is actually going to listen to you, because talking about those things is the only way you're actually able to get over it.
Don't talk to me.
And that's why I married a social worker.
Don't talk to me. I'll give you terrible advice. I'm not good at improving your ego. So
this is why we don't text anymore.
It's because I wasn't positive enough.
No, I'm just kidding. Although I will take a brief moment to talk up Ringo. There was a lot of times that you sacrificed time to help me learn my longsword technique. Many days after practice, it would be just the two of us for like an additional hour and a half. And I specifically remember a bunch of those lessons. So I thank you. Find yourself a good coach.
Yeah. But also someone who'll support you, because those aren't the same thing. Good coaches will only break you down. The only way to be a good coach.
Will break you into the putty to remold you into something else.
Positivity is for losers. I'm kidding.
Positivity is for everybody. Winners and losers.
Yeah. Nice. Brian, do you have an answer, or like is that? Because that was pretty good.
Yeah. No, that was good. I personally, if I find myself like bummed about a fight, it's you're always going to win some, you're going to lose some. If I find myself bummed, it's typically because of my own performance. Like if we go out there and I feel like I fought as well as I could have and we lost, hey, you don't win them all. But if I feel like I went out there and fought like shit and then we lost, I'm like, well, fuck. It can be hard. I just try and have a short memory about it. You get what you can for lessons out of it, but try not to dwell on it. And there's typically post-fight fun to be had. So just let future self worry about what you did wrong and what you did right, and just enjoy the company while everyone's there.
Enjoy the beer.
Yeah, and let future self worry about the hangover you're going to have after being dehydrated as hell and sligging down your PBRs.
Oh man, PBR taverns! I'm about it. We need to make this happen.
That's the best thing out of this whole thing. It's come up.
I'm gonna start messaging them. I'm gonna start I gotta get back on drinking PBRs all the time, and I have it like
We're gonna swap the team name. It's the Manchester Blue Ribbons.
Ooh.
Well, what we got to do is we should go and fight at the beer garden at the Budweiser plant. We could get the actual Bud Knight to show up, and then we could
kill the Bud Knight and then send the video to Pabst Blue Ribbon to get the real sponsor. Yes, I'm in. This is so good. Yeah.
I could actually might be able to try and set something up there. We did through Kyle's circus school, we did like a circus thing there for like 3 or 4 weeks. I say last year, 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And I'm actually kind of like know the guy who sets events and stuff up there. So
It'd be sweet. That's a good place. It's
Yeah,
a
it's a sweet
dope
spot.
like.
and the guy's like super cool. Like we were doing like they do their set their rig up and do all the aerial acrobatics and stuff, and he was like, oh, anything you guys need, let me know. Like, he was super helpful and super accommodating. And
Was it part of an event, or you guys just like rented the space?
they do like they had like a Halloween haunted house thing
It was really
there.
cool.
And then they did a Christmas thing too,
Cool.
but I'll try and get his contact info, and maybe we'll set something up.
That'd be
That'd
dope.
sweet.
Yeah.
Thump it.
It'd be cool. Similar to the last question, the answer's probably gonna be the same, but advice for cynical old fucks who are burnt out and are like, fuck all of this.
I definitely think one of the big things is like sometimes you just gotta take a break. Come back in a while and then remember why you like the sport. Again, it's like it's easy as human beings to focus on negativity and to focus on things that you don't like, because those are always at the forefront of everyone's mind. But you got to remember why you joined the sport in the first place. And maybe that reason's changed, but you really got to take time to focus on why you love the sport. Because honestly, it's the coolest sport you can possibly do.
It's true.
What are you gonna play? Tennis? Actually, tennis is fun, but it's not as fun as hitting people with swords.
I mean, every sport, like I've yet to find a sport where I was like, this isn't like, I hate baseball, but like playing baseball is fun.
Yeah.
Sports are fun. It's hard to not enjoy sports. Brian, you got anything to add?
Yeah. I mean, sometimes you just need to take a break. You know, sometimes you're forced to take a break. Sometimes you need to take one on your own, which is a lot harder.
Yeah.
This last year, when it's like you can't fight, you're like, for the first couple months, I'm like, oh no, like, and then, like, you're 5 months into it, you're like, all right, I need to freaking fight. And it's when a choice is taken out of your hands, it's easy, but when it's you know, you're even if you're like missing opportunities to murk, even if you're like, I'm on the Monarchs and I'm hitting all the Monarchs fights, but there's other, these two teams are fighting and I could go fight. Like, you feel like you want to fight every time you can, but sometimes you just need a break. And also for me, a big thing is the ratio of training to fighting. Like, if it's a sparse, an off season, and I'm like, I'm sticking into it and I'm doing all this training and all these workouts, and then there's not a fight for a couple months, I get burnt out from the training.
So fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're like, why am I even pushing up?
What am I doing? Yeah.
Why am I even pushing up? Yeah. No, it's no good. I hate training. I hate a lot. Almost as much as I hate putting on armor.
I've realized I don't like grappling practice because I'm not good
What
at
do you mean you realized this? The first time we did grappling practice, you were like, this is dumb and I hate it.
It's
like 2 years ago.
Because I'm reminded with renewed vigor every time I show up to a Tuesday practice, and I'm like, oh, I hate this. Okay, come here.
I wanted to hit people with swords, not wrestle.
Yeah.
Hey, you gotta do the things you're shitty at, though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Those are the things.
And otherwise, you never grow as a human being. If you keep on doing the easy things, do hard stuff. It's
hard
better.
stuff. Yeah. Sounds like
Yes,
someone needs to
Kearney,
learn
I need to learn how to grapple. I do watch your videos though, and they're always very insightful.
Yeah, shouts out Kearney's videos. He's putting out some great content recently. I'm glad to see you joining the content sphere, Josh. Soon every fighter is just gonna be making content, and we'll never fight again. That's all we're gonna do. Last question before we start signing out. What do you still want to do? What's on your to-do list for the sport?
For me, it's easy. I just got to get that international fight. COVID kind of kicked me in the huevos, and it was a big bummer not being able to go. But like, I've had cool opportunities to go to like South Carolina and hopefully Oregon later. We've fought in a bunch of different places, but that's what I got to do. That's been my goal. My first goal was like, cool, be an executioner. And like, I got there. I'm like, technically an executioner. And then it's just that next thing is like, go international, representing the US in anything. Just sounds super badass.
Yeah. It's not.
It sounds super badass because it is.
I disagree. Repping the U.S. sucks. Fighting internationally, kind of cool. Wearing the tabard, dumb. I, unlike you, don't have a flag behind me.
Oh, this is our wall of flags. We're a house of internationals.
Yeah.
And Batman.
The bat flag. You need the bat flag.
The true place of honor is the Batman light.
Brian, what do you got? What do you got left that you want to do in the sport?
I want to fight in as many he wants to get his first international fight. I want to scratch off as many spots as I can. I just want to travel to as many countries and fight in as many different castles as I can.
That's cool. Yeah. Do you eat castles?
Let's just make a trip. Let's just make a trip with us, and we'll just go and fight each other at every castle in Europe.
Do you guys I mean, obviously, Greg, you haven't done it yet. Brian, do you eat castles? Did you steal that thing? One of the early fighters said that you need to eat a little bit of every castle so that you get its strength.
No, I just run through them.
This
was the toilet.
This is the privy. They poop here. I'm gonna do it.
They're like, no, please, no. Too late.
That is an ancient artifact. Do not poop on it. I'm gonna poop on it. I'm gonna poop on it. All right. So, usually on the way out, I ask people to recommend something. Because I've renamed the thing, I came up with a new idea. Instead of recommending a thing you like, or actually, we're gonna do both. So, recommend one thing you like, and also trash something. Talk about something you absolutely hate and why it's terrible. I'm gonna go first. I recommend everybody paint their nails. It's fucking dope. You look so pretty. You feel so good about yourself. If you haven't done it, do it. If you normally do it again. It's so good. Paint them tonight if you haven't. Yeah, it's dope. And trashing, I'm going to trash on HMB because it's a garbage organization that makes terrible choices. And they don't want people to fight. They want to do historical reenactment, and fuck that because, like, I'm not a historian and history's dumb.
Trash talk.
Trash talk. Go.
Right.
Let's see. Something I suggest.
Anything. Fight related, not fight related.
Oh,
Anything.
shoot. I'll trash talk first. Can I do that?
Yeah, do it.
I think anyone that wears gambesons that cover their armpits are wussies. I think everyone needs to fight with exposed armpits.
Let's go.
Accurate.
Absolutely.
Because everyone should change. I don't want to change.
I'm going to cut armpits out of mine now so that I can join this.
And then something I suggest everyone try fighting with armpits cut out of your gambesons because it keeps you so cool.
And you can go you have so much more mobility.
That's my
It's
secret.
amazing.
That's what the secret to my deep gas tank is, that I don't overheat because my armpits are constantly cooling
He's
off.
got the heat flaps.
It's amazing.
Okay. One thing, because I like snacking and eating more than a lot of things in life.
Yeah.
You guys should try what I call Polish sushi. You should take a dill pickle and cover it in cream cheese, and then you wrap it in ham, and then cut it like sushi pieces. It's
Ooh.
delicious, and it's so good.
Sushi.
I'm going to try it.
I'm
I'm a little skeptical, but I'm going to try it.
No, it's so good, and
Alright.
it's good for you
All right.
because it's vegetables and meat.
You put a pickle on a ham sandwich, wouldn't you?
No, I would put a pickle next to a ham sandwich and eat it.
Same thing.
Also, I wouldn't put cream cheese on my ham sandwich. That's what I'm really...
What?
Wrapping the pickle in ham sounds great, but this cream cheese...
Right, but the cream cheese is what makes it sushi.
Yeah.
Okay, but cream cheese and pickles, cream cheese and cucumbers, all right. Cream cheese and pickles, I'm like, I don't know. It's sour.
I gotta think of trash talk.
Yeah, something you hate.
Oh yeah, don't work for a school board because they're all just a bunch of rich white people that tell you what to do, even though they haven't been to a school, or they're just. Actually, I'm just gonna trash talk rich white people. They're the worst, and they should just not be a thing anymore.
How rich?
I don't know. I would say richer than me, but that's most of society.
Fuck! Damn it!
I'm trash talking Ringo.
And Brian! Is it Brian making Meg?
He's got a house. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I want a house. Brian's the rich one here.
Oh, are we talking how gross or are we talking net gains?
But I think
There's
I
not
think
much
we
in the
all
bank.
know rich white people when you see them. It's like there's some people who have money, and it's like oh cool. I don't know, you were cool or whatever. But then they're just
Rich white people.
like ascot wearing, country club going, non-Polish sushi eating jabronis. Ugh. Ooh, olives also work in place of pickles. I'm gonna try that, Julie. That sounds good. I was at Brian's house last summer. We had an amazing little family get together called Summer Olympics, and it was super fun.
Yeah.
But we got these it was olives that were stuffed with salmon. I was salivating right now. I was thinking about it. But those were also delicious. I will always tell people to eat things. I went to Cambodia to visit my wife, Crystal, when she was like working internationally. And I literally I ate everything that was handed to me. I was doubled over in pain and I had diarrhea for 10 days, but I ate everything. I ate a soft shell crab burger. It was a whole soft shell crab in the burger and it was delicious. But every bite just hurt my body. But just try food. That's Louis C.K. says
but it healed your soul.
Yes. Louis C.K. says that the key to happiness, you just take food and you put it in here. Ow. And like it's just
Well, since it's become a culinary exchange, I came up with one of my better creations yesterday. So Saturday, my family was coming over and I made a big batch of couple lasagnas and I had extra filling. So it's just like ricotta cheese and sausage and beef and onions and mushrooms. And I had a big bowl of that left over. So yesterday morning, I put it into my omelets. It's the lasagnet. It is so good, dude. It's a game.
Lasagnet, fuel of the fighter.
It's a game changer.
That's our sponsor number
So
2.
good.
I mean, like, Brian needs to make the lasagnet company first. And then sponsor us.
Frozen lasagnettes.
Ooh, might be onto something.
And then Doritos. Just fucking put lasagna in
Are
everything.
you guys into
Bracken just
watch?
said, Andrew Dion and Mikey Johnson fight in blue cheese. I
Yeah.
know Mikey hates blue cheese.
Yeah, this sounds so good though. Speaking of asking about fighting, someone asked earlier if we all have fights for the event Bear's trying to put together with me. Brian, you have a fight, right?
Yeah, I'm fighting Etienne.
Ooh, that's gonna be good. Greg?
That'll be good.
I'm fighting Michael Grennan.
I don't think I know.
He came to Rookie Rumble a couple years ago, and he was cleaning house.
Oh, wait. Yeah. Okay, I do remember him.
Yeah, he and I are gonna fight. I'm excited. I think we're doing Falchion Shield.
Nice.
I'm excited.
No armor, just blue cheese wrestling. That's so good.
Oh,
It's so
my.
good.
Sounds like this.
All right. On that gross note, training reminder: the challenge is put on your legs. Do some speed ladder drills. No one ever does these challenges, so it's just gonna be me, and I'm gonna post it, and everyone's gonna be like, "No one did that." But like, do it. You should do it, and like, send it to me, or like, post it, or don't, or just do it and know that you did it. And then maybe tell me in the chat that you're doing this though, so that like I don't
But
feel
if
like
you didn't post it, did you even do it?
Yeah, it's true. You don't get
Yeah.
gains if you don't post about it.
Yeah.
That's why like I'm starting
Gains
to
come through video.
yeah, it's why I'm starting to like get in shape again because I've finally been like putting my Instagram back on. So it wasn't working for 2 months, and I was like, "What's happening?" Started doing posts, immediate gains.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Also, it can be good inspiration. Keep you going. You can be like, "Oh, I really don't want to go to the gym, but I haven't posted in like 2 days, so I kind of
Yeah.
have to go."
Yeah, vanity posts is such a
Whatever
great.
whatever gets you there, dude.
Yeah, vanity posts is the best reason to go for gyms.
Mhm.
Kraken already did the challenge. He knew it was coming. Kraken, you're my boy. On that, we out. Thank you everybody for tuning in. Thank you, Kraken. Thank you, Julie.
Oh,
Thank you,
bye.
Land. Thank you, Danielle. Thank you, I don't know, other people who are here. Greg, you're in the chat. Why are you in the chat, Greg?
Because I have it right here.
Perfect. All right.
'Cause I'm
Brandon,
watching
thank you.
guys.
Trying to get the numbers up.
Love all you people.
Also,
Does fighting people in armor count? No. Did you fight people where on an agility ladder, Josh?
Ooh.
If you fought people using an agility ladder, then yes, it counts. Like, I had my legs on and moved athletically. No. All right. Nope. Next time it's going to be box jumps and legs, which, by the way, is the absolute worst thing.
Cool. I hate it. Thanks.
Peace.